name is Miss Clare, and I'm an instructor here at Elementary Institute of Science. EIS is a nonprofit organization that aims to promote STEM education here in sunny San Diego. Today, we are going to be doing an activity to learn about binary code. So, binary code, what is that? Well, you may have heard of some computer programming codes or languages such as Python or C++. There's lots more where that came from. But the computers use binary code to interpret those languages, and it's the fundamentals of how computers understand what we're trying to tell them to do. So, for today's activity, we are going to be translating our own names into binary code. To do this, we are going to be using some beads. You're going to need 3 different colors. So I've got red, black, and white, but you can choose whatever 3 colors you'd like. You're also going to need a piece of string that eventually will be used to make a bracelet or a keychain or whatever you're looking for. Remember, making it a little longer than you might think is better than always making it too short. And last, we're going to have just some small cups that we'll be using to sort our beads in a little bit later. Ready to get going? Awesome. So, the first thing I'm going to need to do is translate my name into the binary code. To do that, I am going to use a piece of paper and a pen to write down some notes. So the first thing I'm going to do is write down my name nice and big and bold at the top of my piece of paper. That way I have each letter that I'm going to have to translate individually. Next, take a look at the screen to translate each letter into a series of zeros and ones. So, for example, my name, I have a C represented by 0100 0011. Notice that capital letters and lowercase letters are different, so make a conscious choice about which one you would like to use for each letter. Go ahead and pause the video if you need some more time to translate those letters. Now that we've translated our names, I want to take a second to talk about what it means when we say binary code. The word binary means 2. So you may have noticed when translating those letters in your names that they're each represented by just 2 numbers, zeros and ones. This is all the information the computer can understand. However, by putting them in certain orders and certain patterns, the computer knows what they're meant to represent. So having a 1 first would be different than having a 0 first. So, as we go forward to make our bracelets, we are going to use colors to represent these 2 numbers, 0 and 1. So you're going to want to count up how many zeros are in your name and how many ones are in your name, and go ahead and assign those a color. So for example, I'm going to have white beads represent zeros, and I have 22 zeros in my full name, my full translated name. So I'm going to need 22 white beads. In addition, I've got 18 ones throughout my name, so I'm going to need 18 red beads, which are going to represent the ones. Lastly, to separate the different letters so they don't get too confusing when they're all next to each other, we're going to add our 3rd colored bead in between each set of 8 numbers that represents 1 letter. So because there are 5 letters in my name, I'm going to use 5 black beads to separate each letter from the one next to it. Go ahead and take a second to do this. Now that I know how many zeros and ones are in my name, I'm going to count out those 22 white beads, those 18 red beads, and my 5 black beads. Here is where our string comes in. So this is going to be used to create our bracelet. Now the first thing we want to do is add a knot to one end. That way our beads don't just slip right off. So you might want to make kind of a big knot. Awesome. Next, I'm going to take a look at my first letter. So my first letter, C, begins with a 0. So I'm going to take one white bead to represent that 0. The next number is a 1. So I'm going to need one red bead. Next, I have 2 more zeros, so I'm going to add 2 more white beads. Then I have another 2 zeros, so once again, 2 more white beads. And the last part of my C is represented with 2 1s, so 2 red beads. Go. And I want to line all of these up next to each other. So this represents the first letter of my name in binary code. Now before I start my next letter, I'm going to add one of these black beads so I know that it's a new letter. And now I move on to the L. So once you're done, you should have something that looks similar to this, although it might be longer or shorter depending on how many letters are in your name. Now you can either loop it around your wrist to make a bracelet, or you can make a loop to create a keychain, maybe even wear it as a necklace. It's up to you. Thanks for joining us today at the Elementary Institute of Science. We hope you learned something and had fun doing it. Bye!